everyone's going to have an opinion on who won the transfer portal during this early stage, whether it be the quality of player over the quantity of player, your roster completely rebuilt overnight simply by adding in veteran talent, or the type of personnel that you were able to target that are going to be plug and play starters. All of that aside, I think it's abundantly clear Ole Miss is one of the biggest winners. They're my biggest winners. And the main reason why, Lane Kiffin's doubling down. He understands exactly what it takes to win in the SEC. And now he's got a formula to be able to put together a roster that is going to contend for a spot in Atlanta. So let's talk about what they've done on the transfer portal and why this is so big for Kiffin going into 2024. But if you were new here, welcome on into the channel, people. My name is Cole Thompson. I'm a radio show host based in Houston, and I talk college football daily. I get it. The clock has struck zero on 2023, but that does not mean I'm going away anytime soon with making content. We got recapping 2023, a look ahead at 2024, questions galore that you're emailing me or sliding into my DMs about. So if this is your daily dose of college football, you need to survive the dreaded offseason. Might I recommend that you smash that subscribe button down below. Leave a comment telling me your thoughts on what do you like about the Ole Miss Rebels going into next season? Can they actually win the SEC? Tell your friends, your family, your mortal enemies, best of bros, Ole Miss faithful, college football aficionados, and SEC fans everywhere about this channel, because we are on the race and eventually will become the #1 YouTube show talking college football daily. That's why you should jump on in now while the water is fine. Go follow me on social media at Mr. Cole Thompson, Twitter, X, Instagram, whatever you call it. But that way, conversations surrounding our favorite sport never have to stop flowing. Ole Miss, to me, is going to walk away the biggest winner because they address the elephant in the room. What do we know about this Rebels team? What have we known about this Rebels team for the last really 3 years? Offensively, they can land quarterbacks. Offensively, they can bring in wide receivers. Offensively, they can plug and play running backs in the formations, and they'll be able to make do. You lose a Quinshon Judkins, and it hurts your heart. But you look at the people in Oxford, you look at the morale around the team, they're not treating it as if, oh, the best offensive weapon is gone. No, they're saying instead, we're good. We got Ulysses Bentley. We're going to bring in someone from the portal. Hi, Logan Diggs. Welcome on into the party. They've addressed the main flaw. Defensive and offensive line play. In the SEC, in the Big Ten, really in any college football conference, if you want to be the front runners, you have to be stable in the trenches. Offensive line play has got to be fundamentally sound. Defensive line play has got to be out of its world. You have to be able to pressure the quarterback, make offenses one-dimensional, and also open up as many avenues as possible for you to be successful. And Kiffin's done that. He's done that to a team. And it's not just by adding in defensive players, because Princely or Manley Ellen, Walter Nolan, those are studs. Those are guys that are going to be immediate factors in the defensive line, and they're definitely going to help out when it comes to the pass rushing department, but really against the run. He wasn't done. He kept building on the offensive linemen. Not only did he go out and add in Julius Blulow, but he also added in Nate Kalepo from Washington, 2 players who were just a part of a Joe Moore offensive line. They also added in Diego Pounce, 6'7" offensive tackle from North Carolina. Can play on the right side, can play on the left side. Look at that. Depth on depth on depth. And so now you're looking at the best teams in college football, especially in the SEC, Georgia, LSU, Alabama. Every year, you know what they have. Exceptional defensive linemen that are going to hear their name called at some point early on in the draft, future potential All-Americans, and difference makers that set the tone for both sides of the football. And you want to be a part of that. Lane Kiffin gets the game of football better than most people. And he may go about it a different way. His coaching style is a bit unorthodox, and he's not everyone's cup of tea. It's like whenever you enjoy Sour Patch Kids. Some people enjoy it. Other people think it's too salty or sour. Other people think it's too sweet. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but it works. It works in a pinch, and it works for a place like Oxford. He said after the Georgia game, we want to win, we got to play within the trenches. We got to get bigger. We got to get better. We got to get more physical up front. He's addressed those needs. 2 Joe Moore offensive linemen are now residing in Oxford. They're playing against the enemy in Kalen DeBoer. They could have gone to Tuscaloosa. They could have been a part of the Crimson Tide dynasty that is hopefully staying alive and well. But they saw Ole Miss. They saw what the Grove has to offer. They saw what this offense can be with a quarterback like Jackson Dart, with weapons on weapons on weapons like Juice Wells, like Jordan Watkins, like Trey Harris, Caden Priestcorn, what you have in the run game. And they said, you know what? I like Ole Miss. I like the message that they're coming out with. I like the way that they're going about building a roster. And I think that they can do something special. This is Lane Kiffin pushing all the chips into a pile. He is now doubling down and saying, hit me one more time. I'm going to get 21 and I'm going to be in the playoff. That's the way he sees it. And he has to. You have immense talent returning next year. They didn't have to. Trey Harris would have been at least a day 2 selection in the NFL draft. He would have been a name that people would have monitored as potentially a riser that many people would want to be a part of their offensive personnel. Jackson Dart could have gone pro. Anybody out there who saw an 11-win season this past year and a victory over a defense like Penn State. Yeah, they had a few opt-outs, but they still had enough that was a part of a top 5 unit on the field, and he sliced and diced them up. 2 passing touchdowns, ran for a couple of yards, had a good completion percentage. You would understand if he wants to go pro, but he's coming back. So is Jared Ivey. So is JJ Pegas. So is Caden Priestcorn. So is all this talent that last season built a legacy and set records in Oxford. And so now you realize that you have to make do. LSU last year had one of the best offenses we have seen in college football for a hot minute. And it may be the best offense we see in the next 5 years. They went 9-3 because their defense wasn't fundamentally sound. Caleb Williams is what many people would call a generational quarterback. And the offensive personnel that you had out in Los Angeles for the Trojans was fundamentally sound, whether it be at running back with Marshawn Lloyd, whether it be with wide receivers like Brendan Rice, like Dorian Singer, like Zachariah Branch. Your defense gave up far too many plays, and it cost you a 7-5 season. Everyone in Los Angeles now has to look at Lincoln Riley and go, you had him at quarterback. You had that talent. He only comes around once in a blue moon. 7-5 was the best you had. 7-5 was the best that we could do. And Miller Moss might do wonders, but he's no Caleb Williams, and they wasted that opportunity. Lane Kiffin's not wasting opportunities here. He understands what the end goal is this season. He understands what this roster is capable of after last year, and he wants to double down and make sure there are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You will respect the Rebels in 2024. You will demand that they are an elite team. You will understand that they are one of the rising sensations in college football. And if they have to go out and they have to add in a few offensive linemen to raise the expectation of quality competition and practice, so be it. That's what good teams do. That's what great teams do. The ones that end up playing in the month of November and they look like they don't even need a coach out there, those are the rosters to where you say, oh, second teamer, don't worry. He could start in a pinch and we'd be fine. You wouldn't even notice a drop-off. That's what they have. Offensively, they're fundamentally sound on all stages, whether it be at wide receiver, quarterback, running back, tight end, and now they got offensive line depth. Defensively, they've added in some dudes. They brought over Key Lawrence from Oklahoma. He's a plug-and-play safety over the top. They also went and added in Amarian Miller from Michigan. This is a 3-star talent that stands 6'4" and is a hyper-aggressive athlete. There's your Decare Marion Richardson's replacement. But you also have Umanly Ellen. You also have Walter Nolan. Those are going to be difference makers, especially in the SEC where 4.2 yards allowed per run doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but it could end up being the difference between an L and a W on Saturdays that eventually sets the tone for if you're going to make the CFP. Lane gets it. And that's why he's crushed the transfer portal. They did not only go after quality players and quantity players, but they went after difference makers, guys who you know are going to come in, set the tone, and be a part of something special. I'm looking out for the Rebels in 2024. They're, in my opinion, a top 5 team going into next season. They're a roster that is about as sound as you could possibly get. And if they start going on a run, we're not talking about them being a college football playoff dark horse. No. They're well past that. We're not talking about them being a national champion dark horse either. We're talking about them being a national championship contender. Kiffin gets it. Kiffin addressed the issue this past offseason, and because of it, the Rebels are in a much better place. Watch out for watch out for Ole Miss in 2024. I'm telling you this much. They get hot, they're the last team I want to play on a Saturday. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching that video. Don't hit the X button yet. Make sure you hit subscribe to keep up with all of our daily content found on Just Saying It and anything else that we post on this channel. Bye.